In the past 2 years, rates of the homeless population have increased while communities all over the country are working to find a solution. America's homelessness crisis seems to keep getting worse. Joining us to explain in this sponsored interview are Ann Oliva, CEO, the National Alliance to End Homelessness, and Donald Whitehead, Executive Director of the National Coalition for the Homeless. And let's jump right in with you. What are some of the factors driving this crisis in America?
Yeah, we know that when everybody in a community has a safe and stable place to live, that community is just stronger. So we're really concerned about these numbers. We're tracking three main factors that really have contributed to this 12% increase that we saw in 2023. The first is the affordable housing crisis. That is, rents are skyrocketing around the country, and there aren't enough units that are affordable for folks who need them. So that is the first issue. The second issue is that the social safety net isn't catching enough people. It's not adequately resourced. So folks are falling through the cracks and ending up in a homeless services system that doesn't actually have the capacity to serve them. And then the third item that we're really tracking is the end of the pandemic era protections, like the eviction moratorium and assistance with rent. Those things ended just as we started to see rents start to go up across the country. So that perfect storm of issues really led to this increase in homelessness.
Oh, and it is so stressful to think about. Donald, what do the homeless numbers look like for our state?
Thank you so much for the question. So in Utah, we saw about 3,687 total individuals experiencing homelessness. That represented a 3.7% increase. While there's a 12% increase nationally, it's 3.7% in Utah. And we saw about 44,000. There's a 44,000 gap in the number of affordable units for those that need it in Utah. So those are the numbers. And we do understand that communities are stronger and they're safer when we have enough housing for people that need it in our communities.
Absolutely. And some states are trying to outlaw being homeless. Why do you say that that is the wrong approach?
Because we actually know that homelessness is solvable, and we know it's solvable with affordable housing and the services that people need to maintain that housing, because we've used that tactic to cut homelessness among veterans across the country in half, just over a handful of years. So that is a successful approach. Criminalization is not a successful approach. And let me tell you a little bit about why. The first is that ticketing or fining or arresting somebody for simply existing outside when they have nowhere else to go doesn't actually end their homelessness. It makes it harder for them to exit homelessness, and it burdens law enforcement with activities that really should be supportive service activities. We also know that it makes it harder when folks get arrested or fined. It makes it harder for them, if they have arrest on their record, to get a lease, to get a job. Sometimes their identification gets lost in these encampment closures. So there's a lot of factors that play into making things harder rather than easier to get folks out of housing. And I think it's really important to also note that in a lot of states, these laws are being pushed by out-of-state lobbyists who have an agenda and who don't know anything about your state or the communities that they're working in. The real experts, the folks that our elected officials should be listening to, are the service providers who are doing this work on the ground.
This is such important education. Thank you so much for the conversation today, you two. Tell us where we can go to learn more information.
For more information, please go to endhomelessness.org/criminalization and sign up for our advocacy alerts.
Thank you both for all that you are doing. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. You take care as well.